Over the Christmas holiday, my older brother gave me a giant box of his old clothes, the majority of which is vintage t-shirts from when he was a teenager. Channel update at the end of the video, stick around if you care. It's a big box. Evergreen chinos, not a good brand. Here's a pair of jeans I can already tell is gonna be a win because they are vintage. So Gap, mall brands that have been around for a long time, Gap, Express, Abercrombie & Fitch. The vintage pieces can be worth pretty good money. Can't quite make out the brand. 10 classics. And this I am going to call a disco shirt. So two good keywords to know are disco and floral. I'm assuming that this is something that he picked up at a thrift store because I've never seen my mother wear this. And it is a women's shirt, which you can tell because the buttons are on the right side when you are looking at it head on. Eddie Bauer Legend. This I'm gonna throw on my big pile of stuff to list on Flip, which is a consignment app that I'm still using despite somewhat uneven returns, just because it is convenient. Here's a non-vintage Old Navy t-shirt. That is not worth it. Here is what looks like, oh, this was mine. This is my old blazer from when I was a little kid. Yeah, this is not worth anything. Nordstrom, child-size blazer. That's just getting donated somewhere. So here is a cable knit sweater from the Gap, and it is right on the cusp of being vintage. It's from 2007, which I can tell by looking at this little tag. See the 07? So this is from February of 2007. Which arguably might count as vintage. I might try to flip this to Buffalo Exchange. It's a pair of Levi's cutoff jean shorts. The cutoffs are not ideal. I would like or prefer rather to have the full length, and would prefer also to not have one with a big something or other stain on it. But if you look at the tag back here, the orange tag confers value. This is a vintage tag. You can feel that it's 100% cotton, and it has this papery label inside. So these are vintage for sure. 100% cotton, made in the USA. You're looking for tags like this when it comes to Levi's. So this may be the kind of thing where it would be worth trying to nuke that stain. I'm gonna keep that. Oh, it also has a hole in the crotch here. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. Here's a pair of Venezia corduroys. I don't think that these are really worth anything. I do think that these are eligible for Flip, so I'll put those there. Anchor blue. I don't know if they're still around. If they are still around, I would venture a guess that the contemporary stuff is probably not worth that much money, but I've had great luck flipping Anchor blue vintage jeans on eBay. I've only found them a couple of times. Even better, a pair of Anchor blue relaxed. So these are baggy. These feel, yes, 100% cotton, made in Sri Lanka, not made in USA. That's okay, they're vintage, they're from the 90s. There's another pair of orange tab Levi's. These are in a sort of teenager size, and obviously some distressing on the knees. That is perfectly fine. It is a 562, regular 14. So these are women's size, which is, again, perfectly fine. Those are gonna do great on eBay, as long as I price them within reason. And another pair of these Anchor blue relaxed jeans. Another pair of cutoff jean shorts. These are Levi's red tab. I can tell that these are, again, 100% cotton. And there are no tags and there's no patch. I can tell that they're vintage and they're button fly. This might be the kind of thing that makes more sense just to flip locally for someone that can actually hold it in their hands. So we're down to the real meat on this bone, the vintage t-shirts. Here is a long sleeve t-shirt. Explore your local independent bookstore. It has this graphic on the back, and it is printed on this tag, the Oneida Power Tee. To my knowledge, this is one of the coveted vintage tags. It is made in the USA. Some vintage shirts, again, I'm kind of talking out of my ass just a little bit because this is not my area of expertise. It's something that I'm actively trying to learn more about. The power tee seems like people like it. Another Oneida power tee, and this should sell for more money just based on the look of it. Bon Appetit from Robert Bardell. There's the artist. On graphic t-shirts, a lot of the times you can find an artist signature and you can also find a date. Looks like there isn't one. I could give you a guess on price, but it would purely be a guess. Here's a child size vintage body glove t-shirt with a big stain right in the middle, but it's got this cool graphic on the back. And it's on a vintage body glove tag. A kids shirt, Beach Network Worldwide. It's got a big fat hole in it, a couple holes. Copyright C. Bell Inc. Kick-ass graphic on the back. That rules. This one I am again completely guessing. I would put over 50 bucks if I were to price it blind. It's roughly a men's small vintage Double Dare t-shirt. Double Dare, of course, the Nickelodeon show. Russell Athletic, and I guessed correctly, small, made in USA. There's something really good down here. And I don't think it's this. This is another body glove. This looks like a pretty rare tag. It's an Australian tag. And it's an Australian shirt. This looks like a tourist shirt from Australia. I don't remember any of us going to Australia ever. The Antipodean images, oh, that's a reference to Gulliver's Travels, right? The antipods, the people on the other side of the world. This one probably worth a hell of a lot. So it is legit vintage Stanley DeSantis. That looks valuable to me. Got a big hole in the back, which is pretty unfortunate. I'm guessing at least $100 for this. It is from 1993. So there's the Beavis and Butthead logo, and then down here, there's the date, 1993. And always check your shirts for a date. And it's got some staining here. It doesn't matter. With vintage t-shirts, condition does matter, but you can get away with a lot more condition issues than with something that is less valuable or something more contemporary. Like, even if you found a shirt like this from a higher end brand, like if this was a Laura Piana shirt, if it had a big hole in the back like that, it would not hold nearly as much of its value as that shirt preserves because of what it is. And also because it kind of fits an aesthetic. Here's an X-Men shirt from the cartoon. A lot of condition issues, chewed up. It's a Fruit of the Loom vintage tag made in USA. This is another pretty popular tag as far as I know. Pretty cool graphic on the back there too. Here's a crewneck sweater of the Moscow Metro System map. It's a medium O'Neill's. Not familiar with the tag. I'm guessing this one also might be worth some pretty good money. It's a Hard Rock Cafe New York t-shirt, blank back. It is not printed on a Hard Rock tag, which the contemporary stuff will actually have a proprietary Hard Rock Cafe tag. I don't know if they used to print them on these instead. So worst case scenario, if this isn't vintage, this will still be worth around 25, 30 bucks. Hard Rock Cafe is a lot like Harley Davidson in that certain graphic tees within the line will be worth quite a bit of money and others are worth next to nothing. So if you find a Hard Rock Cafe t-shirt that's attached to a specific location, always look it up and you may be surprised. Like, some of it has great sell-through and holds some pretty good value. A pretty crazy one. I don't remember him wearing any of these. These are maybe before my time on this wild tag. Another one that might be worth over 100. Smashing Pumpkins. Just Say Maybe. I've been listening to a lot of CDs from this band because I found a bunch of them at a thrift store. and fortuitous timing. It's on a vintage Tultex tag, made in USA, assembled in Jamaica of USA made parts. So legit 90s. That might be worth over 100. It's a weird pair of child-sized cargo shorts with this kind of color blocking thing on it. That's a great keyword to know for vintage clothing. This is called color blocking, where there will be a big section of a garment that's a solid color in contrast to the rest of the thing, or there will be like sections of color. That's called color blocking. It's a great thing to put in your titles and description. And it's a Pilot Co. pair of shorts. So this one, I think I actually know is worth more than 100. It's an original Sonic the Hedgehog 2 t-shirt, and of course, covered in stains, but doesn't matter. Here's the Hanes poly cotton tag. Oh man. Wow. I bet this is worth some good money. It's an official Far Side by Gary Larson t-shirt with, of course, yellow stains on it. Check out the tag. I didn't even know that they made official merch. Definitely another candidate for being worth a ton of money. I think my dad must have brought this back from a trip that he took to Russia post USSR collapse in the late 90s. I remember him leaving when I was a little kid and coming back with some stuff like this. And that, yeah, is a tourist shirt, but that might be worth some pretty decent money. That's going to be a tough one to find comps for. An Albert Einstein all over graphic shirt, another good keyword. When you find a shirt like this, all over, one or two words both work as keywords. All over graphic or all over print describes that. There's really no tag on the inside. I remember this. The Roadkill Cafe, big bleach stain right at the bottom. It has this funny menu, and it's on an Oneida. Oh yeah, I remember this shirt. The X-Files. It's from 1994, 20th Century Fox branded. I would say probably at least 40, right? Gotta be. Valuable not just because it's X-Men, valuable also because it is a vintage San Diego Comic-Con shirt. Some of the vintage Comic-Con stuff can be worth money on a Fruit of the Loom tag. Probably just another $25, $30 shirt. It's a Hanes beefy tee. A vintage Hitchhiker's Guide shirt. Don't panic. There is no tag on the inside, which is unfortunate. But single stitch, and who knows? That could be worth a lot. You don't find these out at the thrifts all that much, so if you want to source these at thrift stores, you might have kind of a hard time of it. My understanding is that they crop up at the bins more often because a lot of them have condition issues, big holes in them and stuff, and that sort of clothing inventory often winds up at these bin liquidation type places. Out at the actual retail thrifts like Goodwill, Salvation Armies, and Savers, you're just not going to find this stuff for the most part. I have a few times, but it's not that common. They're rare because a lot of thrift stores know that they're valuable, so they hang on to them to sell online. Also because people just don't donate them that much. Also because there is probably more competition on vintage t-shirts in thrift stores than any other category of clothing other than maybe sneakers, maybe. Although I think vintage t-shirts would probably carry it just because that's where I see the most vintage hunters in the thrifts. You can always find them in the t-shirt section. Channel update. If you follow the channel at all, you're aware that I'm having issues with chronic neck pain. I'm making progress in fits and starts. It's really tough to know where I am headed And I am being optimistic and choosing to believe that I am on the path to recovery and that eventually this problem will be behind me. Until that time arrives, hopefully, I have to take a step back from listing because I can't do it without flaring myself up for whatever reason. And I'm going to ramp up my YouTube efforts because it's a little bit easier on my body to make these videos than it is to list stuff on eBay. And the really valuable stuff I will still list, but I'm going to try to minimize that and maximize my time making and publishing videos. So I am becoming the thing that I didn't want to be, and which I think nobody really wants me to be, which is someone who is more of a YouTuber than they are a reseller, which I understand is territory that I have to enter a little bit trepidatiously, but I have to enter it because this is how I can be the most useful. So my misfortune is your fortune in that I feel like I have a lot of knowledge that I've built up that I have not shared on this channel. So body permitting, I'm going to be releasing more videos more frequently and trying to build the channel up a little bit and refocusing my efforts there, at least temporarily. So that's kind of where I'm headed, and look forward to more videos. It's the next day, and yesterday I completely neglected to thank all the people that bought me stuff off of my Amazon wish list. Sherry bought me an Enya CD. I think I now have almost the complete works of Enya. I'm missing one album, and it's a soundtrack. Sherry says, "Hey Matt, love watching you on YouTube. Hope you'll enjoy. Merry Christmas." Merry Christmas to you, belatedly. And I definitely will. Chris sent me Power Trips Opening Fire. Thanks for all the great content and humor. Your videos are very helpful. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you as well. Hope you have a powerful one. Rita sent me Selected Ambient Works by Aphex Twin, which scandalously I had not actually heard, even though I love electronic music. She says, "Thanks, Matt." Thank you very much, Rita. Heather sent me Godflesh self-titled. This is an industrial metal band that I really like. Heather says, "Hi Matt, love all your videos. Your videos actually got my husband excited to go thrifting with me. Please don't ever leave YouTube." I probably won't, and I'm glad that you have a thrift ally. Thank you for the CD. Kelly sent me Bonded by Blood by Exodus, an old thrash album that I'd never heard. Kelly says, "Hey Matt, thanks for all the great info on selling men's clothing and reselling in general. You have been a huge help in kicking ass at reselling. Merry Christmas." Thank you, Kelly. Merry Christmas. I hope that a number of asses are also kicked on your end. Somebody also sent me this. There was no note with it, so whoever you are, thanks very, very much. This is one of my favorite authors, and this is one of his most celebrated series of novels, and I've not read them. Allison sent me a box of CDs as well as Blackwater Park by Opeth, which is an incredible CD. I just listened to it all the way through. The last track, Blackwater Park, is a contender for best metal song I've ever heard in my life. Very much appreciated. She also sent me a big stack of her own used CDs. So thank you, Allison, as always. And last but definitely not least, a viewer named Todd sent me a custom fishing rod that his son made for me. His son, I think, owns and operates a rod wrapping or rod building company called Impact Rods. And this is an incredible, gorgeous rod. And I'm not just saying this, and this was not a dirty deal. I did not get a rod in exchange for an endorsement or a shout out, but Impact Rods is gonna get one anyway, even though they didn't ask for one. I'll put a link to whatever social media I can find from them in the description. He did incredible work. I've only fished with this once so far. It's a 7.6 rod, spinning rod obviously, medium power, and the sensitivity is unreal. I was fishing with just 4-pound mono. This is Iserline copolymer. Felt like I was fishing with braid. I mean, the only rod that I've fished with that is this sensitive is my Shimano X-Bride, which retail for 300 bucks. I don't know how much he sells these rods for. I would put it on par with the X-Bride. I think it's like an incredible rod. And you know, I've only fished with it one time, but I'm blown away by the quality. If you're an angler, if you need a new rod and you need a really nice rod, I think he does saltwater stuff as well. Check him out. And big thank you to both of them for doing that. I'm really pretty blown away by this. Thanks everybody that sent me stuff. Thanks everybody who didn't send me anything, who just watched the videos. See you soon.